Hello everybody out there. Back at it with another one. Showing you a lure this time. See if I can't introduce you to something that nobody has ever seen. And I got it right here. Look how big that thing is. See that jig hook? Got a fiber guard. This is before I started 3D printing. I got really good at it and got more proficient with my prints and the CAD and everything else. But this is an idea I had back in 2013, and I guarantee you no one has seen this. I haven't showed anybody. Nobody, I doubt anybody's have this on the market, but let me break it down for you. I've got two of them here. I've got one just next to the camera that's actually charging right now. But when I first started airbrushing, I practiced on these. I mean, these were the first of the firsts. But it's not the way it looks, it's what's inside of it. Let's see if we can break this down and I'll show you. What I basically have right here, I don't have it scraped off, but I have just a little bit of silicone over there, and you can press that in. It's the on off button. And let me get the one that's charging here. This is the one that I have that I've got it hooked up to where you could take any kind of creature bait, any kind of crawl, anything, and screw it right in there and then work it over the hook. Or I've got an eyelet right here to where you can take one of the rounded jig skirts and it go right over that. And you can put a keeper on it and you'd have your skirt and everything and a trailer. So let me hit the on off switch here. That was off. There's on. Takes a second, but let me start describing what this thing actually does, because I don't know if anyone's done this, but I went way outside the box on this one. This is a receiver. This is a transmitter. I found a dog shot collar and I got them for very good prices. But basically what I did was I embedded this thing with ABS plastic all the way around it. Same stuff I 3D print out of. And just basically put, a big hook in it and put everything in it basically. And then rounded it off, sanded it, did my process of working down the plastic, and then painted it. And that's that. But there's some other technology besides that in here. Let me show you here in a second. But first, I've got it directly plugged in. I've got a cover and everything for this that goes right on here. And what I did is I took a laser for an AR-15, the trigger mechanism, and I wired it into here. I'm not an electrical engineer or anything, but I know what wires do, and it's part of the job that I do in the oil field, so I've got some good knowledge. But this is from back in 2013, and I'm kind of proud of it. I was a little giddy about this thing because I started it right up, and it was still charged from back then to now, and it was still holding a charge. And the power button right there is silicone. I mean, it's sealed. Water's not getting in this thing. All right, let me show you what I got. You say you're bed fishing, you toss this thing down on a bed. Yes, it's big, but remember what swim baits do. They're not small either. Big fish eat big baits. You put a trailer on this thing is going to be massive. All right, I've got this on. I got my trigger mechanism, and I'm not good at sewing. I'm not the greatest. But I've got a glove here, and what I was going to do was put this glove on. It's actually for carpal tunnel. And then I was going to run this through, attach this section, which is the hand remote, and put it right in here. And then run this through, and I was going to make a glove similar to for the cold water fishing, the fingerless gloves, and wire this in to where it presses up against the pole whenever you're coming in. But let's show what it does. That's at a half setting. When you want. Vibrating. Let's turn it up a little bit. Oh, went down too far. Come on. There we are. Setting 10. Take this thing off. I don't need it. Say you toss on a bed. That thing's just sitting there. This is where the idea for this came from. Imagine not having to lift up that bait up off that bed, but letting it sit there, and the lateral lines of the fish coming to that lure just because of the sensation of the vibration of it. All right, this is the highest setting it has. Could you imagine that? If their trailer was sitting on there and it's just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I mean, that's quite a bit of vibration. Oh, it's losing its power already, I can tell. There she goes. Look at that thing dance. And I tested this thing after I made it. We've got a little aquarium fish tank. It's maybe a 10, I can't remember if it was a 10 or 15 gallon, but anyways, I put this thing in it, and it was in a Gladlock bag at the time because I was afraid of it leaking, but I've already tested it. It does not leak. It does not, water does not get in this thing. And I went to the other side of the house with this remote and hit it, and my wife watched it while it was in there, and through like 4 walls, and it was on the other side of our house, complete other side of our house, through walls. So if you're fishing and you've just made a monstrous cast way out there, I know you're not going to be going through walls. You're going to be going through that water, and that thing's going to, you could be sitting down at 40 foot. This thing, I believe it said it was rated up to 300 yards. On command. Hit the button. Boom. Boom. Okay, that was that portion. I showed you the remote, everything that it can do. So let me show you what's in this thing that makes it special. Because you may say it's got a battery in there. How does it charge? You've got no ports on it for putting in a plug. You've got nothing in it. Let me show you something. Before this technology really came out, I had an idea and a thought, and I had to do a lot of research and a lot of reading. But what I've got in there is wireless charging. Okay, let me show you here. Pardon my desk, it's a little dirty from airbrushing and all the work I've been doing. Here we go. Okay, this is a wireless charging dock. Okay, put it on there. All right, we're charging. So if you can imagine you're on a boat, and even if you're fishing these, say you're a tournament fisherman, you've got several poles rigged up with these, and you're on a hot bite, and you're using that, and you're using up batteries fairly quickly, which you can get certain different capacities, which would make them bigger, but I've got a decent capacity battery in this. I can definitely upgrade batteries to even get larger and larger. And matter of fact, I've got other units that I've actually made. And this is one that's ready to go in a bait. But, I mean, there's my battery. 400 mAh. It's a decent capacity. And there's my wireless charging. That's the copper that picks up the charge. And I've got, several of them. And I've put them together as if I'm getting into a assembly line work. Now, that battery would last quite some time. I've got smaller batteries for these. I've got the ones that came with it, and I've got one step up higher. So, you jump from different sizes. I mean, it's all optional, just what you want to do. But the design of it and the creativity that I threw into it, I doubt this would ever make it to the market. That's the only reason I'm actually showing this. But it's just sitting there charging. It's a USB port. Every boat nowadays has a USB port on it. Every one of them. So you could have this sitting there, whether it's tied on or not. You could have your pulse the other direction up near the console. Oh, this one needs a charge. Let me grab my other pole. I'll put that one on the charger. You could have one with an outer rim, basically, to keep it from going anywhere, but the center is where it charges the best with that little copper winding in the middle. I hope that helps with some thoughts on anything. But if you got a thought on this lure or anything, or maybe even some questions or comments, I've made this so long ago. Technology has definitely picked up since 2013. But if you'd like one, maybe give me a shout. There might be a wanting for these things out there. I don't know. But it's a thought. I have still yet to try it, surprisingly, on a bed. But give it a shot. Thanks for checking in. Comment below. Subscribe for me. Thanks.